Hi, I'm Winnie Irvine, aka The Rebel. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, I know what I want, and I'm all about women's empowerment and women's development. And I'm a proud member of the Girls Say It movement. Hi, I'm Winnie Irvine, aka The Rebel. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, I know what I want, and I'm all about women's empowerment and women's development. And I'm a proud member of the Girls Say It movement.
Hey, 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 everybody. My name is Lady T of Girls Say It, and I am Miss Compassionate because I love the people. I love to put a bit of a sparkle onto somebody's life, of course, as you can see the sparkles beaming. I love to be smiley. I love to be energetic and full of energy that brings positivity into the room and atmosphere each and everywhere I go. So stay tuned as you see more of me.
Hi everyone, I am Anders Slays and I am one quarter of the Girls Say It crew. I just wanted to give a big warm welcome to everyone who has joined us today. We have a jam-packed show planned for you today and we look forward to doing more. If you want to see more from us, please follow us on Facebook. You can find us at Girls Say It. Follow us on Instagram, that's Girl Say It as well. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is also Girl Say It. So a bit about me, I'm a firm believer in love and I believe that everything should be done in love. Talk in love, do services in love. And I believe that if we do this, the world will definitely be a better place. So I welcome you once again to our live today. You can watch us on Facebook, you can watch us on YouTube. So please tell a friend to tell a friend and tell that friend to tell another friend because it is all going to be happening here today. See you soon. Bye. Hey family, this is Miss Rolo here, aka Miss Keeping It 100, aka Miss Keeping It Real 24/7 and nothing less. I'm a proud member of the Girl Say It team. See that? See that? I just want to say a huge thank you and appreciation to everyone who's shown us love, who's liked, who's subscribed to our pages. We see you, we appreciate you, and we hope to catch you on our next live happening today at 6 p.m. GMT. Stay blessed.
God made us. He made them magical beings. It's important how you look at yourself and you view yourself. How you look at your brother, how you look at your sister. We from the same tribe. It's black love. It's that real love. Wake up! Whoa!
Alarm clock, stand up. Waking up, wake up. This animal. Oh, this animal. This animal. Oh, this animal. This animal. So people want the dog. Instead of thank the Lord. So people know wake up. This animal. Oh, this animal. This animal. Oh, this animal. This animal. Shake as you be. Sharon Ellie. Shake as you be. And it is a man to see. We go make a man the wonder.
Hi everyone, and welcome
Hello,
to our
everyone.
live. You are welcome, you are welcome, you are welcome. If you are watching, share this video with your friends, your family. We want to get as many people involved in this discussion as much as possible. This is an impromptu live. We didn't announce it because we didn't intend to come to you guys again this week and have a discussion, but with the way that things currently are, we feel that it was important, or it is important, for us to come to you today and discuss the matters on the ground. And the matter on the ground today and this week, in fact, for the past few weeks, has been the issue of SARS and end SARS. And I think we can all agree that this has become a worldwide news now that everybody is talking about and everybody is aware about, and it affects generally everybody on the planet. police brutality is a huge issue. So we want to come today and talk about what's happening in Nigeria, exactly what the issues are and how you can get involved. And also, you're free to ask any questions. We will answer them for you. We'll try and provide as much information as possible and lead you on to the answer. So we're going to start off the video with just an introduction about what SARS is, so that you're informed, and then we can go ahead.
Why are there protests in Nigeria, and why is it your business? Here is a summary of the protests going on in Nigeria and why they are important. In 1992, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS, was created by the Commissioner for Police. That year, a colonel of the Nigerian army was killed by policemen at a checkpoint. To retaliate, soldiers took over the roads looking for policemen to kill. This caused a lot of policemen to retreat from checkpoints for 2 weeks. In the absence of police, armed robbery and crime increased, and the SARS unit was commissioned to curb the increased crime. Even after an agreement was reached and police returned to the checkpoints, SARS remained. By 2009, SARS had become a large and powerful unit, largely uncontrolled, and their focus had expanded beyond armed robbers to internet fraudsters. They were allowed to carry guns, drive unmarked cars, and operate without badges or uniforms. They became known for their violent harassment of innocent young Nigerians. As the internet age grew, SARS became more creative in how they forced young Nigerians to withdraw money from ATMs and make transfers to them under duress. Everyone knows someone who has been harassed, flogged, raped, extorted, injured, or killed by SARS. By 2016, the first End SARS campaign began. It was widespread and drew some attention. By 2019, SARS had been reformed, overhauled, decentralized, and disbanded 3 or 4 times without success. By the fourth quarter of 2020, at least 18 people had been killed by SARS on record, and this was during the COVID-19 lockdown alone. In all of their existence, hundreds have been killed and tens of thousands had been extorted, injured, raped, or harassed by a police unit that was created to protect citizens. On Thursday, October 8, 2020, the first set of protesters camped out in front of the House of Assembly in Lagos State to demand that the government end SARS immediately. Their chairs and tents were taken away, and they slept on the hard pavement. By Friday morning, 1,000 more people had gathered, and the momentum started to build. On Saturday, over 10,000 protesters in more than 10 locations in Nigeria had gathered to demand for the abolition of SARS. The roads were blocked and the protest was moved to the homes of government officials. In true form, the police reacted with tear gas, assaults, shooting, and destruction of citizens' property. That same Saturday, Jimoh Ishiak, a student, was killed by police at a peaceful protest against police brutality in Ogbomosho. By Sunday, there was no going back. An estimated 100,000 people had gathered in 100 cities around the world, and the hashtag EndSARS was trending at #1 worldwide for almost 48 hours. At least a total of 9 other people were killed, 1 in Abuja and 8 in Ogbomosho. Dozens were arrested in Abeokuta and injured in Abuja. By evening on Sunday, the Inspector General of Police announced that SARS had been disbanded. Unfortunately, this announcement would be the 5th of its kind in 5 years. And now, Nigerians are demanding a follow-through of the removal of the rogue unit completely, once and for all. If you are not in Lagos or Abuja or Ogbomosho or Abeokuta or Port Harcourt or Benin or London or Berlin or New York or Houston or Istanbul or one of the more than 100 cities around the world where protests are happening, you can lend your voice online. The hashtags EndSARS and SARS Must End are the most popular hashtags to amplify your message. Are you in or are you out? Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell right after you hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications whenever we have a new video. This is the place where curiosity meets learning. Leave a comment to tell us what topic to explain next.
Yeah, so we've seen that video now, and for those that didn't know, that was just a brief explanation of what SARS is, what the issues have been. And I mean, just as we've watched that now, just want to throw it open to the floor, ladies, Lady T, Miss Rolo, and Winnie Irvine. It's good to have you on the show today, obviously. It's good that we came together to talk about this. Say your hellos and your greetings. Awesome stuff. So we've seen...
Hello, people.
Yeah, so we've seen the videos. We've seen the pictures. We've seen all that's been going on and all that everyone has been saying. And I just want to find out from each one of you guys how you feel about what you've seen, because without going into too much detail, we are all Nigerian, connected by blood. So we're not just here identifying as Nigerians for the sake of it. We are actually Nigerian parents being Nigerian. And of course, we identify through that way. Though we're born in the UK, we identify as Nigerians, regardless of what anybody says. We are Nigerians. So as Nigerians, we want to speak on the matter and tell you exactly how we feel about what's going on in Nigeria today. So over to you, Lady T.
Hello, everybody. I'm representing today. I am part of this EndSARS movement. And I really just want to say I'm grateful to everybody that has been backing it, supporting it, sharing it. I am one person for sure that can say that social media has a power tool to spread news and to spread awareness. And no matter how you're doing it, whether you're going out on the streets and actually protesting, whether you're behind the screen and actually speaking about it like we are trying to do today, whether or not you're putting a post, whatever way you're doing, you are bringing an awareness to a situation that has to be addressed and where change has to come. So we are very happy again to be here today to discuss this matter and do our part, which is to really put it out there. Obviously, being Nigerian as well, it's only right that we do it and thinking about our motherland and showing our part by expressing our opinion, but also letting everybody else know, both non-Nigerians and Nigerians, to come in and really hear about what is going on as well. Over 24 hours, literally, this time last night, something went down in Nigeria that just literally changed the whole scope of things. Overnight, something horrific happened. I literally watched a live video that went from 0 to 100 at the Lekki toll gate. I had people that were there protesting along, that were resilient with the other protesters, even being told, despite, stay here. Do not, stay here. No, do not stay here, rather. Go home. It's not safe. Go home. It's not safe. They are coming for you. They've turned off the CCTV. They've turned off the light. Your own country leaders turn off your light, turn off the CCTV. It was evident that something was about to happen and go down. And indeed, people were like, let's wait and see what's going to happen. And that's how these people showed up like a thief in the night.
So quickly, Lady T, before you continue, just very quickly. So you've obviously seen quite a bit. You're quite up to date with what people have put out there, which is amazing. Now, just based on the videos that you spoke about, that you saw, the demonstrations that you saw and the things that you saw at the toll gate, how did that make you feel as a Nigerian?
Yes. So, definitely get into that. So even as a Nigerian watching that live, I actually felt like I was there. It felt like I was experiencing, living in that moment. And that is a horrific feeling. That's why I always use the word horrific. Just seeing people run for their lives, hearing gunfire shots, because a mere gunfire shot, I'll be flying. But seeing people hearing gunshots, but yet still standing resilient, seeing the darkness that they were in because there was no light. The only light was the flames that were coming through later, which was a fire that was happening a few yards away. It felt heartbreaking. Like, I would not usually come out and say I feel heartbroken concerning the matter, but this one felt heartbreaking, especially when you're seeing the build-up of it from the beginning and what it eventually turned into and what people were actually anticipating. So it's not like people didn't know they were coming. People knew where they were coming, but were told to remain calm, sit down, pack together. Don't worry, they won't harm you if they do that. But imagine, despite, they still had the audacity and the guts to fire. And they're saying that they fired up rather than direct, but yet we have people with their brains out, their intestines out of their stomach, and pictures are circulating. You know, God forgive me, I am Nigerian, but there's something about my people. Sometimes, you know, we like to lie. You know, and we have evidently a governor that came up and lied and said that there was nothing. There was no fatalities, but yet
pictures
things are
don't lie
around online. And evidently people can see deaths. Who can survive a brain coming out of their head? Who can survive intestines coming out of their stomach? And those pool of bloods that people were in. Who can survive all of that? And you're telling us that there were no fatalities despite the videos that are going round? Oh my God. So to be honest, yes, I felt quite traumatized, very disheartened, to be honest, and quite emotional about the matter at heart. And I've been thinking about it. I feel like I even dreamt about it, woke up again, still thought about it. Because every time I go on my feeds, most of you would even know, that's all I'm seeing. That's probably all you're seeing is updates regarding this matter. I went to work today. I'm on the we have a radio at work, and all I'm hearing is about NSARS. And I'm like, well, thank God that it's being put out there, because it needs to be out there, because that can only put the government in a certain position where they possibly would have to answer and be accountable to. So despite unfortunate fact that our president is being quiet about this matter, which is unbelievable, he will have no choice than to vindicate it. And
so, Lady T, I'm interrupting you because you're touching on areas that we are definitely going to go into, particularly about the response of the president and the response of the government. So we're going to quickly go over to Winnie, and then we'll go to Miss Rolo to drop their 2 cents, and then we'll continue with the great points that you mentioned. So Winnie first.
Well, my immediate reaction was, it just brought me back to the lack of transparency that is within the government. And, you know, the lack of transparency filters down to what actually happened at that Lekki gate, because the fact that they tried to hide something that was so public is just astonishing. But you know what? There's comfort in numbers. There is comfort in numbers. Yes. So unity. The people that were there and the people that suffered yesterday, they had each other. But my mind goes directly to all those people that suffered in silence. The victims who didn't have anyone around them, who called out for help, and their fellow brother and sister walked by because they didn't want to get involved. And those cries for help really rang out yesterday when you're having people saying, go home, keep yourself safe. You know who those people are? Those are the people that when that person cried out for help, they looked at them and they walked away. And this is a time where for a very, very, very long time, tribal issues, religious issues have been put secondary to the unity of Nigerians as a unit.
That's right.
And this is the real time for change. And yes, those lives have been lost. Yes, blood has been shed, but don't let your brother's blood or your sister's blood be shed in vain. This is time to step up for all Nigerians that are in the country and also those that are outside or are connected to Nigeria. This is the time to step up, because nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself.
That's right. Perfect. Miss Rolo, love to hear from you.
For me, I'm still in shock. I'm still dealing with what I witnessed on live. I've never seen anyone being killed before, and to me it's still quite traumatizing. But my initial reaction when I first saw this particular video was, it first showed the protests from the early hours of the day. So it was bright outside, or people, in large numbers, all together, standing in unity and just singing songs, singing the national anthem, just encouraging each other and just being in solidarity. And, I just felt like I went through a roller coaster of emotions. At one point I was, ecstatic, I was proud, I was hopeful, I was in awe, of just the display of love and unity and togetherness. And it went from that to utter disbelief, utter shock. And I just remember thinking, is this real? Like, am I actually witnessing people being murdered in cold blood in front of my eyes? Like, these are protesters who were unarmed. It was a peaceful protest. And there was just it was an unnecessary and overuse of power. And it was just so unjust to watch people being slaughtered like animals. And almost feeling a sense of helplessness. Like, you want to be there to help and you can't because you're watching it on your phone. And it's like, am I actually watching this? Is this a movie? Is this actually real? And to also have these same people, when they started firing the live rounds of bullets at these unarmed protesters, the people started running naturally, because that's your natural
Yeah.
human instinct, is, you know, fight or flight. And in this case, obviously, they're not armed, so they have to run. So you see all these crowds of people running, and then all of a sudden there just comes a shift, and people just start saying, "Oh no, we can't run. Let's go back." And you see
Goodness.
lots of people going right back into the firing line, defiantly. And at that moment in time, I actually broke down in tears. I watched this at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and funny enough, I was actually having a bit of a nightmare at that time, and it woke me up. It's a nightmare. I won't tell you the particulars, so it's not relative to what we're talking about. But I woke up at 3 a.m. and something told me to grab my phone. I grabbed my phone, and this is exactly what I watched, and these are exactly the emotions that I went through. So as I'm feeling right now, I'm still, as I said, in shock. I'm still in disbelief. I'm still dealing with it, and it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for things to really heal. You know, people are still hurting. They're still angry, and rightly so, because this was a massacre of cold blood.
Yeah,
completely unjust, you know, and inhumane. And I think the world is now watching, which we wanted it to do initially.
Exactly.
And it's only now that everybody is starting to come out. And you know, it's so unfortunate, because with revolution, there's always sacrifice, and there's always, you know, loss of life, unfortunately. But like Levine said, you know, like Winnie said, I call her Levine because she's my sister, that's her actual name. But anyway, as Winnie said, you know, these lives, we cannot afford for them to be in vain. We have to raise awareness. We have to do whatever we can to make sure that we stand in solidarity, defiant, resilient against this intimidation that is being, you know, given out by the government. They are instrumental in this, no doubt about it. And I'm sure as the show goes along, we'll talk more about why we feel that is so.
Yes. So thank you for that, ladies. So as I agree with you. I mean, I was up till about 3 a.m. this morning as well. And to be honest with you, I couldn't go to sleep because there was just so much out there. There were so many videos that were just so shocking to see. My personal feeling was I was so embarrassed. I was extremely embarrassed, of the way that the governors and the president responded. There was literally no response from the president. Let's be frank about that. There was nothing from him. And for those who were the leaders that had the position to do something about it, the only action they felt was appropriate was to kill people in cold blood. And let's be very real about what happened. These were young people. These were youth. These were the next leaders of the country that they did this to. Without a care at all, they slaughtered them. Without a care, without thinking about, without any form of empathy at all, because that could have easily been any of their children out there. And I believe that word was said that some of the upper class youth that were also out protesting received warning to go home, and left the ones that were somewhat lower class to be exposed to what was going to happen. So killed. I mean, I still am in shock, to be honest with you. And I just pray that we all continue to stand together and we all continue to fight. As I said earlier, this is a worldwide issue. This is not just about Nigeria. This is not just about Africa. This is about the whole world. This is about the whole world. And it essentially affects the whole world directly, not just indirectly. It affects the whole world directly. Police brutality affects the whole world directly. Now, moving on from what we've just spoken about, we've witnessed these videos. Going back to the videos, we've witnessed these videos, and I want to actually just use this time now before we move on. Is there anything specific in the videos that you saw that made you feel like you have to do something about it today? Because let's be frank, for those of us that aren't in Nigeria, we're not seeing these things live. So, I mean, we hear about the news, we see the news, and we think, oh, okay, that's one thing going on in another country. That's another thing going on at home. But what was it specifically about the videos that you watched or about the post that you saw that ignited a flame in you that made you decide that today I must get involved, and I need to get involved, not just on a basic level, but I need to spread worldwide awareness. I need to let those people that are out on the front line know that they are doing a heroic act we do see them as heroes, and we want them to know that we are supporting them from wherever we are in the world. What was it that you saw in those videos? What was it specifically that you saw that made you think enough is enough?
Well, I think for myself personally, it was more to do with seeing somebody in a live experience more than anything, which is kind of what I mentioned before anyway. Seeing somebody in an actual live experience that was at the protest, that didn't have to be at the protest, that would have been one of those that say, okay, because I'm not part of these people, I'm going to go back home and do my thing, and allow the lower class kind of people to stay back. So I was seeing someone that had that, one would say, a well-to-do sort of lifestyle in Nigeria, that felt that, okay, on a normal day, maybe I shouldn't be here, but you know what? It's not about my status. It's not about what I have. It's about fighting for a cause and fighting with the people. Therefore, I'm going to denounce every friend that said they're affiliated with me. I'm going to denounce every celebrity that I have connections with and people in high places. I don't care what happens to me. I don't even care about my mum that I love so dearly. That's the kind of attitude this person had. I saw somebody that had a heart for the people, and I was so drawn into it. And then seeing that person stick with people that they don't necessarily know as a lone ranger and say that, no, I'm here to protest for a cause. Therefore, I'm going to stand at this toll gate with the last few members here that remain. Because remember, that toll gate was not as crowded as the day before. Yes, people had had previous warning about a curfew. And they were told to go home by 4 p.m. But there were people that had, yes, they heard about the 4 p.m. But they said, you know what? We are not going to take oppression from a government. We're going to remain focused for a cause. And therefore, we're going to stand where we are, that regardless of what they say and what they try to tell us we must do, no, we must not do that. Because at the end of the day, we're going to conform to what they keep telling us to do. Like some people say, we're trying to marinate it and say, oh, well, obey the law of the land. And that's where scripture started coming in, that, oh, you know, in the Bible, it tells you too that you need to obey the law of the land. So everybody go home. But at the same time, they're like, well, we need to make a statement tonight. Because we need to show these people that they are not in charge. We as youth have started this, and we're going to end it our way, not their way. So I was really admiring of the person that I know personally that stood there, defied all odds, and was willing to say that if my life ends today for this cause, I will have it like that. And I think for me, that was a complete U-turn, because I think it touches a bit different when you have a personal connection with somebody that's going through that kind of thing. And that's how it definitely opened the doors and my eyes and said that, you know what, if somebody can do that and be on ground like that, then who am I? I'm literally at the end of a camera. Why can't I use my voice and join other people that are making awareness? It's almost like a shame almost. Honestly, if you're Nigerian and you're not saying anything and you're not doing anything and you're not posting anything, even if you can't be on ground, why are you not saying anything? Are you ashamed to be Nigerian or something? Are you ashamed of what's going on? Yes, okay, it was an embarrassing situation, but now the world knows about it. So what are you going to do to play your part to make sure that something actually happens that's different? So it's not just another repeat of what we've seen many years ago, and then we go back to square one. But now we're going to have a direct revolution. And how are we going to do that?
Certainly.
The only way is to be persistent and to be focused. And be focused through your social media or through your present ground in the physical, whichever way it's going to be. Everybody's voice counts. Like we said before, powers in numbers, and definitely, unfortunately, powers in sacrifice. It's part of the process. But it must be persistent and no backing down. So I just said to myself, I don't care about anything else. I'm going to come out and do the part that I can physically do. I can't physically be in Nigeria, and to be honest, I probably won't be one of those that wasn't at the front line. I ain't gonna lie. I will be many, and I understand people that have that heart that say that I'm not gonna be fighting at the battle, mate. I know there's bloodshed that has to happen in this matter, but I'm sorry, I cannot sacrifice my blood. All right, fine, I'm one of those people too. But then again, voice matters.
Yeah, your voice.
People are coming out now as one voice, and because of people's voice, be it celebrity, be it non-celebrity, be it poor, rich, whatever, your voice is counting. The pictures you put up, the posts, the videos, whatever you do is counting. The world is seeing everybody's
perfect. So Lady T, again, to interrupt you, I've got a habit of doing that today. But yes, you've touched on another area that I want to find out from Miss Roller how she feels about this. So the involvement of celebrities. Now we know that some of our Nigerian celebrities have taken to social media and called out some international celebrities about what they're doing to help this cause, what they're doing to help spread awareness about ending SARS. Now, Miss Rolo, based on what you've heard and what you've seen, what are your feelings about the involvement of international celebrities and how they need to respond in a situation like this?
I feel like it's a good thing. I feel like the more people that speak out that are not just Nigerians. This is not a Nigerian thing, as we've said before. You know, this is relatable to every nation that's, you know, going through some form of development. There's always a struggle. There's always corruption, and there's always, you know, some form of brutality, whether it's from the police, whether it's from the government, or whoever. And it's unfortunately, it's one of those things that's like a progression. As much as it's a sad thing to witness, almost every country in this developing world has had its growing pains. But what is good about this protest and this movement is that we've had quite a lot of celebrities worldwide. You know, it's quite shocking. I'm amazed at the support that they've shown us, and willingly, you know, we've had a number of people in the arts, from musicians, from actors, you know, that have lent their voice and lent their platform willingly to support the cause. And I feel like that's done a good job of, you know, really putting us out there, really putting what we stand for, what we're going through as a nation out there, and educating people about what's happening in Nigeria. And I think that's a good thing in terms of educating the world, because a lot of people may think that what's happening in their country is an isolated issue, and they'll be, you know, quite, you know, amazed to find that this is something that's very common. And just because it's common does not mean it's acceptable. It is very unacceptable. And the more we shine a light on this, the more we can talk about how we move forward, how we come to resolving issues, and how we ensure that people's rights, their human rights, are protected. You know, and so I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm grateful for all the support we've received from non-Nigerians and from celebrities and just everyone in general. It's not just about the celebrities supporting us. We need every single person who is a human being, who can relate to this experience and get in touch with their humanity and fight for this cause. That's not just a Nigerian cause, it's a worldwide cause. And we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep shouting about it. The only thing that I will say, which is a bit contrasting, is I don't believe that we should be begging celebrities and calling them out to join this protest. I think it should be of one's free will to do so. We shouldn't have to be putting duress or pressure on people to make them feel like they have to speak out if they don't want to. Now, not everybody wants to be an activist. Exactly. Not everybody wants to be an activist. And you know, and some people just want to do their own thing and keep it moving, and maybe support in a little way that may not be public. It may be, you know, in the background where they're donating to charities and etc. We need to understand this, that it's not by force. The same way you're protesting for freedom, for liberation, you need to also exercise that when you're talking about your fellow human beings, even if they're celebrities. You know, there's only so much expectation that we should be putting on these people. At the end of the day, this is a Nigerian, in particular, this NSARS movement is a Nigerian problem that needs the innovation and the bright and intelligent thinking of the Nigerians inside Nigeria, who understand our history, who understand our differences and our similarities as a culture. Our solutions, we're well within, we have the capacity to do this on our own, but we appreciate the support. We appreciate the support and we need it, yes. But we need to start believing in ourselves that change can start with us and we can do this. We don't need to beg anyone to help us. We can do this, but we appreciate the support.
Yes, perfect. Now, Winnie, moving on to you. So as we've spoken about, this is not just a Nigerian issue. Although it's taking place in Nigeria, it's a human rights issue. So I would like you to sort of give your opinion on how you feel that the rest of the world needs to get involved, where they need to get involved on this human rights issue that is happening in Nigeria. It's not just a select group of people that are just misbehaving and it doesn't really affect anyone, or it's just a Nigerian thing, or it's just a small thing here or a small thing there. This is a human rights issue. So Winnie, if you could just shed some light and shed your opinion on human rights.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion might be slightly controversial, But Nigeria's already incorporated a lot of human rights into their constitution. But the main problem is that you have other rights that override those human rights. For example, those implemented by the UN. For example, the Defamation Act, which completely almost nullifies some of the human rights that are implemented from the international community. So my opinion is that stop looking outward.
Yes.
Let's really look at our home. Let's fix our home. Because if you're already having human rights violation indoors, even though we've already incorporated a lot of international human rights into our very own constitution, and they are being basically turned against, or other laws are being put in place to supersede those international human rights laws, then what's the point in it all? What's the point in looking out? What's the point in implementing more international constitution if they're not even going to be adopted? So my personal opinion would be we need to get our own house in order. We need to see how the laws that are currently, the human rights laws that are currently embedded in, for example, Nigerian culture, how are they being enacted? Are they even being enacted?
Right.
And I think that a huge analysis on this whole area really needs to take place, and it needs to take place with Nigerians that are based there, with people that are in positions of power, with people that are, for example, charity-based, and also with civilians. It's a civil matter. Exactly. It's a Nigerian civil matter.
That's right.
Perfect. So, as we've seen as well, the acts of these young people who bravely stood up to the military, stood up to the leaders, stood up to the government and said enough is enough. These people also laid down their lives as sacrifices, as Lady T briefly mentioned before. It's not as if these people don't know their country. It's not as if they don't know what happens when you speak out in a country like Nigeria, if you want to say that. So they were fully aware of what could potentially happen if they stayed and protested past the curfew time. Yet they went ahead and they did it, and they gave their lives to the point where some were still ready to go back, even though they had that initial reaction of flight. They were still ready to go back and say, you know what, we are not giving up. We are not giving up, and we're going to stay on it. And thanks to the older generation as well, who, I don't want to sound like we don't appreciate what they have done or their own struggle, but they have now started to stand up with the younger generation and started to speak up and do something about it. We are now starting to see a lot of support from the older generation. Now, just I'm going to go into a little bit of controversy here, and just say, speaking about our older generation, now the generation that was before ours, we know that this issue with SARS and this issue with police brutality and mismanagement of power is not a new thing. It's not a new thing to Nigeria. It's not a new thing to Africa. It's not a new thing to the planet. But some of us feel that the older generation allowed things to sort of become like this. They feel that some of the older generations, instead of standing up and sort of being willing to make a great sacrifice for their country, which I won't say that no one did, because of course there are lots of people who laid down their lives for a better Nigeria. But there is also a huge number of Nigerians, because we're speaking specifically about Nigeria today, who fled the country in order to pursue a better life and to somewhat turn their backs on Nigeria, and have somewhat decided that there is always going to be that negative light on Nigeria, and there is nothing that Nigeria can do. There is nothing that Nigeria can do, to the point where some of them have spoken up and they feel like the youths are wasting their time. Now, what would you say to anyone, older or younger, that has that opinion? What would you say to them?
Well, Nigeria has the highest youth population in the entire world. So I'm sorry, old folks, but your voice is dying out. That's my honest opinion.
That's a good one.
Because it's not it's not about them anymore. And that's for me when you asked Lady T about what motivated her to stand up and say something and support. For me, it's the youth. It's the youth because they are the real catalyst of change. And the amount of young people that I saw at the protests was so inspiring. So old folks, please get a bit quieter.
Have several seats, yeah?
I mean, old folks are the reason why we're all obviously in this position, because unfortunately for them, very negative, very ignorant sometimes. Sorry, no offense. I respect and I love my older people.
Not all of them, of course.
They get too concerned and they get too stuck in the ancient times, and they become quite resistant to the fact that there could be a possibility of change. I mean, even for myself growing up, I faced resistance when it came to speaking about the love for a country that apparently I shouldn't love because I wasn't born there. So why do I care so much about Nigeria? You know, why should I care so much about Nigeria? Because you were born and bred in the UK. So what's your business with Nigeria? That's the kind of circle I'm coming from. And, you know, I had a natural love for the country. I always wanted to know about
you did.
roots.
I can verify that.
Yeah, I always wanted to know about my roots. I would always go back and visit. I always wanted to stay in touch. Whereas I was coming from a family that maybe necessarily didn't want to and was like, been there, done that. And to be honest, we don't really want our children to be there kind of thing. And I just feel that is the generation of then, that they still have that mentality that we went through a stage back then where we saw so many, we fought this fight, we've seen the suffering, we've seen the corruption, and it's almost like a giving up spirit. And if we can't do it, sorry, younger generation, you're wasting your time, and you can't do it either. But I cannot say, correct me if I'm wrong, fellow Nigerians that may see this video, I cannot say that there has been an act like this where youths have come together and formed like this.
Right,
Together and united like this. Maybe adults, yes, in the time of Abacha when they were going around in the UK, back in Nigeria. I remember that Abacha time because my parents took me for that as well.
We were there. We were all there.
We were there. We protested. We got Abacha out as well.
Yeah,
we protested this from day.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember times like that when I was younger. You don't forget fights like that. So yeah, they were fighting from those times, and I guess maybe the energy from them has drained them out, and they never saw hope in Nigeria. A lot of people are still not seeing hope now because they feel that Nigeria is probably best divided. So there's mixed views on that as well. But to be honest, there will never be a change if we're always negative. There'll be never a change if we're always dwelling on the past and not focusing per se on what should be the future. That's why one of the things that I saw in this NSARS that just drew me as well is the fact that people were saying, are you focused? Yes. One of the things that the woman was saying, or people that were going on the stage to gear up the crowd, were asking them, are you focused? Don't focus on what people say around you. Don't focus on the things that you hear, that is it possible, is it not possible. Focus on the change that you want to see.
Yes.
That is it. The focus that you want to see. And how desperate are you for that change? How willing
desperation.
Are you
You've got to be desperate.
Be on the line of come life or death, I will die for change. Some people have that power in them to be able to do that. So just saying what I was saying before, yes, just like Winnie said before, old generation has done their part. Thank God for them and their mentality, but they need to just keep it there and nip it in the bud. They chose some of them to go abroad and get a better lifestyle. Thank you, parents, and thank you, older generation, for doing that and giving us a better education over here as well. But there's one thing you can't take away. You cannot take the DNA. I wish you can see one of my teachers. You cannot take the DNA that runs inside the blood of a person that wants to be affiliated with their roots. And I'm happy that this generation is different, because back then I remember even when we were growing up, it used to be about, oh, Caribbean, African, was not really all there. People didn't really want to know about the African culture and the Nigerian culture. I'm just speaking the truth. And many people that were brought up in the UK would know about that. It used to be a nation that people would laugh about. If you say my name is Oluwabumi, people were like, which one is Oluwa? Or you say my name is Adeyemi. Adeyemi? What's that?
African.
Yeah, you ask. Oh, look at the sound of her accent. But it looks like now everybody's admiring it more. That's just how the world evolves. People are admiring Afro beats, admiring the music, admiring the accent, admiring our clothes and style, admiring our Ankaras. So it just shows that change is possible. It's just going to take time, and things happen. There can be a revolution, and there will be, and there will be a greater Nigeria. I strongly believe eventually that time will come, and we should not give up. We have seen things that look like it was impossible turn possible. Afrobeats became possible. Something that people used to say, "Nah, it can never outplay dancehall. It can never outplay R&B." But look at now. Worldwide, everybody knows about Afrobeats, and in loving it, we're playing it on the radio. I just say Afrobeats because it originated from Nigeria, by the way. You know what I'm saying?
Miss Rolo,
we put it on the map, so all things are possible. I just feel like this generation needs to be focused. Focus. I think that's the key word. They say, "Are you focused?" Yes.
Focused.
Yes, exactly. We are indeed. We are indeed. And SARS, and corruption, and brutality, and Buhari,
get rid of Buhari,
of corruption, all and brutality. End it all.
So, Miss Rolo, before you start, now you're gonna obviously respond as Lady T has done as well. But I also want you to touch on why the older gen maybe really, and I mean this is how I see it. So if you can't see it that way, that's fine. But if you're able to see it from this perspective as well, that maybe they're just tired. They're tired of being lied to. They tried in their time, I think specifically for our parents, we're family, but our parents, they, in their young age, they did have a lot of movements, particularly for Christianity, I will say, was mainly religious, but they were very used to protesting. They were very used to speaking out against certain things. So do you feel that perhaps they're just tired of being lied to? They're tired of fighting and continuously seeing corruption, because you have to think as well that some of the people who are in power right now are some of their age mates. They are some of the people who marched with them and protested with them, yet they are the same individuals who are now causing the country to further go into corruption. So, Miss Rolo, if you want to land.
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually. When we speak of our older generation, our mummies, our daddies, our aunties, and the sort. You know what we have to remember, which we tend to forget as young people. And I'm starting to sound old now because I'm starting to feel old. So now I'm starting to sound like my mom and dad. But no, just to get back to the point, they were once young. So all these protests that happened back in the day, they weren't the age that we're seeing them now. They weren't old. They were like our age or even younger. So they were once young then, and the world was a different place then. You know, we don't have the new age where we have modern technology to use as part of our, tools and resources to protest, to show and display the deplorable brutality and heinous acts of, these government officials. And so the fight was different then. It was a different fight in a different time. I should say the same fight, but in a different time. And so, that back in the day, they didn't have all these technologies that we have. They didn't have all this innovation. And I'm sure that, we have to be frank, the world is a place where we have people that believe that seeing is believing. And sometimes until you see these atrocities, you don't actually believe they exist. And so their fight was quite a lonely fight, to be fair. And it was a hard fight because they could not gather momentum the way we have with social media. And so I don't want to discredit any of the efforts that they have done, and I believe that's not what we're doing anyway. But just to make it clear, we are very appreciative of how far they have taken in this fight.
Yes.
But there has to come a time where they need to hand down power. They need to pass the baton to the next generation to take Nigeria further to where it is right now. And that's exactly what is happening. We have to be able to say, okay, I'm at this age. This is how far I've gone with Nigeria. This is how much I've put into it, and this is where Nigeria is. To take it further, it needs fresh minds. It needs young and youthful minds that are now, knowledgeable of how this world works inside out. We have geniuses in Nigeria. We have innovative, creative people in Nigeria. Just look at what we've seen so far on social media. Who would have thought that I mean, this government, I have to say, has really undermined its youth. They have undermined its youth. Just like what a lot of older generation do, they undermine the younger ones, still thinking, oh, these people are still children. They still play. They should respect their elders. And we need to get away from that mentality where we are giving respect because it is demanded and not because it is earned. And I feel like we need to, as Africans especially, that is what has held us back, is that we think, I don't want to take over Daddy's business because, you know, I don't want to offend him. Daddy's business is still there. But Daddy's business is shaking. It's on its last legs.
Yeah.
But because you want to be giving respect to the older generation, you don't want to go in there and propel that business to be a huge and successful enterprise. Because Daddy doesn't want to shift. Daddy doesn't want to shift. He wants to sit on power until his last day when God takes him home. We need to get away from that mentality, and we need to educate our older generation that it's not a matter of disrespect. It's a matter of progression. It's a matter of progression. You look at other countries and other leaders, a lot of them are quite young. They've had young people in power. When Tony Blair was first appointed Prime Minister of the UK, he was a young man. I think he was even in his 30s. What are we saying? And we're still, you know, it's very annoying, it's frustrating, and it's somewhat disrespectful. Respect is reciprocal. It has to be two ways. You don't just respect your elders, and that respect is not given back. And I feel like that's what's happening with Nigeria in terms of its growth and progression, is that we have too many old people in power who have exhausted their days. They've exhausted their talent. They've exhausted what they have to offer Nigeria. That is why the youth are being frustrated to the point where they're even asking for the basic of human rights.
Basic, very basic.
Which is just to be given justice. They want justice. This is what this End SARS movement was all about from the beginning. Initially, it was all to do with justice. And then it turns because we now realize that, okay, we can come together as a people and gather momentum, despite what tribe you come from, despite what different area in Nigeria you're affiliated with. If we can come together like this and pull in numbers, and people are now listening to us, we can do more. It's not just about End SARS. I believe that End SARS, although it started off as initial movement for reform of police brutality, it became something so much more. It became an ignition for real change to all of the things in Nigeria that don't make sense, that is just barbaric in nature. Even the fact that we don't have 24/7 lights, we don't have clean water, sanitation is a problem, medical services is a problem. How many people do we know that have died at the hands of the lack of adequate healthcare in Nigeria? How many people do we know?
Basic human rights.
It's on and on and on and on and on. And just to get straight to, not to take too long on this, but I think we need to start telling the older, showing, not even telling. I don't think it's a matter of talking anymore to the older generation. We need to show them, and that's exactly what is happening on ground now in Nigeria, which is inspiring a lot of people around the world. And I'm really proud to be a Nigerian and to be a youth, even though I'm getting old.
Yes.
I'm proud. I'm a proud Nigerian youth. I'm not lazy. Mr. Bubu, Mr. Buhari, we are not lazy. And you're going to eat your words when they show you fire, which they're doing already. This is a message to Buhari. Yes, we are not lazy youth, and you have now seen that for yourself. Now your government will work. They'll work for every single naira that they have stolen from the people. Now they will work because we're going to put pressure on them. We'll continue to stay defiant.
Exactly. So, it's so funny that, of course, you mentioned Buhari as well, and his reference to Nigerian youth being lazy. I mean, it's
sorry,
unbelievable.
Can I just cut in there?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just one moment. For those of you that don't know, Buhari is the president of Nigeria. Just to throw that in there, because we're not just talking to Nigerians here. So just to let you know that I'm referring to the president of Nigeria currently.
Thank you for that, Miss Rolo. So yes, as I was saying, this Buhari guy, the president of Nigeria, this guy is going to bite the dust very soon. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. This guy is already old, and the way that he's leading the country, the way that he is making the youth feel about Nigeria, the way that he is demoralizing them. One thing that the leaders need to wake up and realize, not just Buhari, but even the other governors as well, and the leaders as well, is that they need to realize that the youth that are protesting for change are the same people who may lead the country some near time in the future. Now, even from their perspective, because they have children, they're going to have grandchildren and generations to follow. What sort of leadership do they want their children or their generations to come to be under? Would they like the leaders to be just like them? Would they like their children to be under leaders that are just like them? The selfish nature has to change. The selfish nature, again, has to change. And selfishness is a huge issue because we can talk about so many things. I mean, we've only got a few more minutes left, unfortunately. So we can't go into all of the areas that we would like to touch on. But very quickly, in 1 minute before we move on, I would like each and every one of us to just talk about how you think, as Miss Rolla has just touched on it, how can we break this scaredy cat culture? And I'm calling that today. That's my phrase that I'm using for today. There is a scaredy cat culture amongst not just Nigerians, not just a generation, but there is a scaredy cat culture when it comes to change and it comes to wanting to push for change. A lot of people are scared. They're scared of what change is going to look like. They're scared of exactly what they need to do in order to make sure change happens. They're scared about what sort of how far their involvement needs to be. What can we do to break this scaredy cat culture for change?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, we're already kind of doing it now.
Yeah,
which is stepping out, regardless of what anybody says. A lot of them have come out, and people have said, you know what, I don't care, my family, my friends, whatever. I know that I'm gonna get a knock on my door the next day because I'm standing for this thing that I shouldn't be standing for. There are people. I mean, we have to respect the fact that yes, they are celebrities, whatever the case is, but they're obviously in a position where they've got connections to some of these governors, some of these leaders that we have, and they might be spoiling their connections. And some of them took that risk and said that, you know what, come rain, come shine, I don't care if I have to lose my business, whatever the case, I'm going to fight. Sometimes it's going to, like I always say, it's going to literally take a life and death situation to put yourself in the front and come about change. But change always comes with resistance. It's well known. It's across everything. People are scared of change in their workplace, in their job. People are scared of change in their family circumstances. It just goes, it's everywhere. In every area of life, change is always facing resistance. So really, it just takes a mindset of people to make up their mind and be like, you know what? I've made up my mind. I'm going to be focused. This is what I'm going to be doing.
That's the word for today.
Is the word for today, you know, focused and determined that I will see this change through, you know, whether or not it feels like it's hard, it's weighing down. You know, I need to big up and make reference to DJ Switch, you know, who
big up DJ Switch.
You know, gone viral.
Queen,
you know,
soldier.
Got to know her in 24 hours because of her humanitarian act.
Yes,
to be honest. So that is someone that you can clearly, evidently see wants change. And she has gone out of her comfort zone, which is the key one. You're going to have to come out of your comfort zone to see change, that's for sure. And you're going to have to do things that you wouldn't usually do on a regular day. You're going to have to help people and assist and just do. Look, imagine that was a woman. People are telling women to leave that scene because they knew it was going to get bloody. But that woman stayed. She stayed to gear the crowd on. She stayed to help out during the shooting and even post-shooting, and still woke up in the morning with probably barely any sleep. And was still helping people to remove bullets out, find hospitals, find places for accommodation, food and water. That woman deserves to be president.
Yes,
right.
That's a person
she is
a president.
She is a potential president candidate.
Sacrificing for your people. Until everybody comes, it's a mentality thing. Until people come to that state of mind and state of mentality, then yes, the change will come. But for people that say, you know what, remain disengaged, disinterested, and be like, you know what, back then it never worked, so why is it going to work now? There's just no point. People are wasting their time. Then unfortunately, my dear, there will be no change. You know, I did come across, you know, I will pinpoint actually. I came across, you know, a comment that came up in our screen. Maybe, I don't know if we'll read it or not, but I still remember it. You know, someone was referring back to 1993 when this kind of act was tried, and then our parents gave up because of that act, because youth came out then, and the person that was an advocate for change, which is Abiola, everybody knew of him. He was thrown into prison and he was killed. You see, even has it there. He was
Okay,
removed
yeah.
from power and he was killed. Yes, but unfortunately, sometimes those things are going to have to happen. And when it
Unfortunately.
does happen, people should not be shaken. Just like the
No.
time that happened yesterday. No one will forget October 20. But what happens afterwards is what really matters. Are people now going to draw back because of what happened yesterday? No, they have to keep pushing. They still have to go back on the streets and they still have to protest, you know. But some people, they see a little shaking. It's not a little shaking, unfortunately, it's a big shaking. Let me not undermine his death.
Yes.
But something like that majorly happened and then people just drew back. But if you're going to draw back, especially for a nation like Nigeria that's full of greedy people and greedy leaders, and unfortunately it's not just the leaders, it filters out into a high majority of people that are quite greedy, love money, and unfortunately their focus is their lifestyle and themselves.
Yeah, sadly.
You know? And they don't really care about other people. But until you start coming off your high horse and be like, you know what, I'm not just going to go to these protests to take a picture to look good for the gram, you know, or, you know, carry my food and my drinks so everybody can see me giving out food and drink.
Promote my business.
You know, and promote my business and draw audience to my page because of my little work that I'm doing. No, until you're like, you know what, I'm doing this because I want to see change. Just like I keep referring to her, DJ Switch yesterday. Yes, she had her live camera on, but she had her live camera on for a good cause. So people will see that, my dear, this person has a bullet. This is real suffer, and smiling situation.
My lady T, you are taking our time,
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm on Niger. Nigerian baby.
I talk for years. Talk for months.
But very quickly, I'm sorry we can't go. We can't. First of all, I have to apologize that we haven't been able to touch on your comments today. But I believe that we will be doing another video coming up because this is until we see results, we're gonna keep talking. Until we see results, we're gonna keep striking. Until we see results, we're gonna keep protesting. We're gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna keep raising the issue. So if we don't get to your comments today, do not worry.
We will keep talking.
Yes. We will keep talking. Now, for Miss Rolo and for Winnie, who's joined us again, before we go today, do you have any words of encouragement for the people who are on the front line and who are risking it all?
Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, there's a bit of a fight going on. No, joking.
We're united. Go ahead.
Yes,
Keep doing what you're doing. You have the full support of the Nigerian community in Germany.
Yes. Represent.
Nigerian community in the UK for sure. US, all over the world.
Seen it.
You know, it's in your hands, but you have the potential. We believe in you.
Absolutely.
Miss Rolo.
And just to echo what Winnie said, you know, we are standing in solidarity with you. We will not be moved. We will not be moved. And as our national anthem says, arise, O compatriots, Nigeria calls, obey. And so we are adhering, we are obeying, we are obeying the call to come to Nigeria and make a difference. It's not just about, you know, just following a movement, just so that we're trending. No, this is deeper than that. It's for our next generation, not just our generation. It's for the liberation of ourselves, our children, and, you know, and hopefully this can inspire and ignite, you know, people all around the world to come together and fight for what is right. Fight for what is rightfully yours, your basic human rights. This is yours. You cannot beg. You should not beg for it. You should not beg for it. You have a right to demand.
Take it.
Citizens. We are citizens of this world. We are citizens of Nigeria, and this is our right. And we demand, because we put those people in power. They are employed by us. We pay them.
Yes, they are.
So they should do their job and do it well. And just to add another thing is, you know, fear. Everybody is afraid at one point in their life. Change comes with fear. And fear is a natural reaction. You're human. It's a natural response when you're threatened by harm or you feel endangered. But, you know, we have to get to a point, and I believe this is exactly what's happening. You know, when I saw that video of the crowd running away from the bullets and they ran back, that was a display of fear in that moment. But at the same time, it was a display of courage and defiance. And if that does not inspire you, I don't know what will.
Positive rebellion.
If we don't take this opportunity now, this is a golden opportunity to make a difference. If we don't do this now, I don't know when it's going to happen again. And I don't want my children to live in a world where we're having to beg for our basic human rights. We need to stay defiant, we need to stay resilient, we need to stay united, and God will see us through. What we are not able to do for ourselves, God will cover the rest.
Surely. Thank you so much. We have come to an end. We have come to an end. And Girls Say It is on the topic. Girls Say It is on the issue. We are coming again. Yes, indeed. Look forward to our next videos because we will be having guests. We're hoping to have people who have been on the front line who can come in and tell us about their exact experience, what they have seen. Take it from them, from the horse's mouth. You will hear live and direct exactly what's been going on. So until then, Sorosoke, continue to speak up. Continue to speak up. We say end SARS, end swap, end all of them, end corruption, end police brutality, end SARS. So on that note, we pray that you have a good evening. For those of you who are still risking it, again, we are completely behind you. Please drop us a message. Please contact either us individually or you can send a message to the group. Anyone is fine. We are ready to support you. Let us know exactly what you need. We will put the word out there. If you need us to put up videos or pictures or anything else, we are ready to do that and support you. So on that note, I'm going to say good night. Have a lovely evening.
Just
and
before
we will catch you soon. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to say this very quickly. At the end of this video, go to our page. You will see some links to some charities, to some organizations that are helping to support the cause as well.
Yes.
So please look out for that once we finish the show.
Yes, perfect. Thank you for that, Miss Rolo. So on that note, good night and thank you for tuning in. For those of you that will catch the replay, look forward to more. Nigeria's call, obey.
Africa calls. Africa calls.
We are Niger to the core. Niger to the core when we need to be. Love, peace to everyone.
We love you all. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. Bye.